It works. Right, so my name is Dilerjit Oberoi. I work for Telecom, and I have the T-shirt to prove it. So you can spot me anywhere. That's why I wore it today. I lead workplace experience for Deutsche Telekom, and we're here today to talk about being user experience led, right? We've been on a journey to elevate user experience, and what that means is we want to transform workplace experience to being experience-led. What is the lived experience of the person who's using our products? That's what we want to lead our decisions on how we develop these products. So let's now see if the clicker works. So this is what we're talking about. Why do we exist? To be more experience-led. And what do we mean by user experience? This is not some fluffy feeling that you get when you open up Teams, and I say that only because Markus is here, who's our product owner for Teams. We're not doing it to make you feel good, we're doing it to make you productive. So user experience means, to us, no matter where you are, what kind of work you're doing, what kind of device you choose to use, which part of the world you choose to work in, whether you choose to work at home or in the beach or in the office, whichever part of the business you're in, you are productive, right? And the tools that we're giving you are enabling you to do what's right for the business. That's how we think about user experience. And how we're going about this journey. So Markus will talk about the framework we're using to drive this forward. But essentially, these are the main elements here. We ask the users, of course, what are your needs? That's one element. We look at the data. What's the telemetry data telling us? We look at designing user journeys. So not just looking at individual products, but looking at how people are trying to use these products to do something. And what does that journey from beginning to end look like? And of course, communication, right? That is, I think you can have all the fantastic tools in the world, but if people don't know how to use them and when to use them, and you're not helping them do that, then that's definitely a trick we're missing. So those are kind of the main elements of it. What we're doing this year particularly is, it's always been, I think, our ambition to be providing good user experience. But this year in particular at Deutsche Telekom, we're taking a program approach to saying, let's take this up a notch. It's not just that we are always working on it. This is a special program with dedicated work streams to look at how we really elevate it to the next level in terms of the user experience. And then, of course, at some point, the program ends and that becomes the usual way of doing things, but hopefully at another level. And with that,
thank you very much, Diler. I'm really sorry I missed the notes on the dress code, but I'm quite tall. I think you can recognize me. Okay, so before we dive into how we're doing this, let's talk about the scope of our initiative first. So first of all, we're looking at our entire portfolio. That's everything you see in the middle there. So all the devices, all the collaboration tools, all the latest AI tools we provide to our users, but also the infrastructure below, so identity access management, the network, user support, and so on. But that's the easy part. The user experience is also heavily influenced by the outside world, right? So largely within the group, but also sometimes outside. Take hybrid meetings, for example. We provide the collaboration tools, the video conferencing tools, the whiteboarding, all that stuff. That's all great, but if you walk into a room and the equipment is not there, you just have a dumb screen or something, or if the room booking process doesn't work properly, that's also part of the experience. So we want to look at the whole thing, and that goes for all the things here and more, so business applications and so on, everything that we don't directly provide, but that influence our experience. And this is the framework we came up with, we're using to do this. So the first thing we want to do is to really better understand how our users use our services. how the user experience really is. And we're coming from two sides. The one part is the research part. So we've been doing user surveys for many years. We got a ton of valuable user feedback in there already. But now we also did many interviews, almost 100 interviews with colleagues from different areas of the group, different personas, if you will. And we got really valuable feedback we can now act on. Plus, we're exchanging with other companies, doing beautiful roundtables recently, talking to many other companies to see how they're approaching this this topic, what we can learn from them. So really interested in an exchange later on that as well. But that is the more qualitative part. And then we got the data part. We also want to back this up with data. We don't want to act purely on anecdotal evidence. Plus, we believe there is a ton of valuable information in the data we can use to improve our user experience, and we're not really using the entire potential there right now. And from all of that, we believe we get a fairly complete picture of the user experience, can derive scores overall and in the different areas, but more importantly, derive actions, right? And we derived many actions already, partially like individual actions on some services or service clusters, but also we got a ton of feedback around some user journeys, and we are now taking a step back and really trying to rethink, to redesign some of these user journeys from the ground up. And all of that we're accompanying with a ton of communication. So obviously we're talking about what we're doing here, bragging a little, building the brand within the company, but more importantly, we want to, communication is also part of the solution, because we want to tell the users what's out there, how they can make the most out of the services we offer. So that's also a key element. And we now want to deep dive into two of these elements. One is the experience design part, and one is the data part. I'm going to hand over to Dilerjit for the experience part.
So when we ask our users what they care about, they came up with 5 things. These are the 5 journeys we learned has the biggest impact on user experience. Therefore, we chose to focus on these 5. And I bet you will relate to each one of them. Running frictionless hybrid meetings. I was talking to a colleague at Bayer earlier, who's not in the room now, but he's got a team that is distributed across the world. And I think that's the norm. We are working with people everywhere. And it's actually easier if everybody's remote. But when you have 2 people in the room and 1 person on the screen, how do you make sure, and even worse, if you have 8 people in the room and 2 people on the screen, how do you make sure that the people on the screen are able to feel included in the meeting, just like everybody in the room, and contribute, right? So that's what this is about. From the time that you walk into the room and you do your meeting, to walking out of it and doing the follow-up and the whole thing. And a big improvement we've made in this journey recently is rolling out Microsoft Teams rooms in our various meeting rooms. So you can walk in with your mobile phone, scan a QR code, and the meeting automatically starts, and you can collaborate. It's quite a nice experience. So that's the first one. The second one is working seamlessly on the move. Just because that throws up very interesting challenges. If you're working in a controlled office environment or a home environment, that's one thing. But when you get onto a plane or you are switching networks and you're now joining a weird Wi-Fi network somewhere, and your devices are freaking out and giving you MFA challenges, or you're offline and you're trying to access a file in OneDrive, or so it throws up other challenges. And we have a lot of people who travel a lot, so that's a big one for us. Collaborating across boundaries is another big one for us as a group. Deutsche Telekom is trying to be much more one company, right? We've got national entities in different parts of the world, but more and more what's happening is you could be working in one part of the business, but you're in a completely different country hosted in a completely different legal entity. And you don't want that to be getting in the way. You want to be able to work with people across organizational boundaries and geographic boundaries without any impediments, right? So how do I even know you are the person who you say you are? How do I do identity management? How do I make sure that you have access to the same things that I have access to, right? So all those kinds of things come into play. Getting help when something breaks is a big one for us. Unfortunately, things still do break. And even when they don't break, you have sometimes questions about how to fix something. And Deutsche Telekom has been quite, I think, ahead of the time in shutting down the hotline. That happened already before I joined Telecom, which was a year and a half back. So we shut down the hotline. If somebody has a problem, they have to go to the chatbot and use that to get support. And we're working on making that chatbot two things. One, more human-like, so you're able to talk to it and it responds much more flexibly. And two, much more capable, meaning hook it up to more systems in the back end, so it's not just chatting, it's actually doing stuff for you, right? Which is the whole this whole hype with AI agents. That's our AI agent. It's doing stuff for you. It's not just talking. And then using AI in everyday work, right? I think I don't know what to say about that. Everybody is going to say a lot of things about it probably, and LinkedIn is full of people talking about AI, so doesn't need too much more to say. But I will just say one thing: the way we think about it, there are two aspects to it. One is bringing AI to the user. That's the user experience element we're trying to improve. And the second is how do we use AI in background to make user experience better? How do we use AI in operations to do things better, faster, and therefore provide a better user experience, right? Those are journeys. And Markus, tell us about the data.
Happy to. So, as I said earlier, we also want to use the data that we have much more intensively. So where we are right now is we have a ton of data across our various systems that is potentially very valuable for us. Systems like Next Thing that is installed on all the devices, our M365 backend, the telephony backend and Teams, the identity and access management systems, the device management systems, the shop, the ServiceNow with all the user tickets, and so on and so on. And the different teams use that data already, mostly for daily operations, to see if there are some issues there, problems we need to fix, and so on. But we don't really have a holistic view on all the data. What we're now trying to do is to bring all that data together in one big data lake. Not an easy thing to do. Lots of confidential data in there, so we have to be a little careful. We have to anonymize some stuff, aggregate some stuff. But the key idea is to bring everything into one place. Also store historical data there that you can then use to basically get the complete picture of how people use our services. And we're heavily using AI here to identify patterns, to see where there is potentially friction between these services, right? What happens today is people look at the systems, they know their data, sometimes they identify certain patterns. But in reality, there's so much more that we currently can't see. And AI is really, really good at this, as you know. So this is not done yet. We're still building this. We don't have all the systems in place. It's more or less like a prototype phase. But already, it's really, really, really impressive what you can do with the system, what you can see in the data. Plus, you can give the teams, the operations teams, but also our UX team, the ability to talk to the data, right? So the system will identify patterns, but then you can do more in-depth analysis. You can talk to the data, find out more, dig deeper into it. And the system will also be able to provide solutions or suggest solutions that the colleagues will then verify. In the future, potentially also automatically fix things. We're not quite there yet, not quite trusting these systems either to do everything autonomously, but I think we're getting there at some point. Again, we're pretty much at the beginning, but this is something we're heavily investing into. This is just, just to visualize like a very high level first dashboard, which will be part of it, but there are more dashboard, again, the chatbot functionality and the error analysis. So don't have the time to really dig into this in more depth now, but happy to discuss this later as well. What's next, Dilerjit?
What's next? There are a bunch of questions that we are still grappling with that we will need to work on. Just measuring the right thing is a really hard problem, right? You don't, we measure NPS, but is that just, I learned a new term recently, vanity metric. Is it just making me feel good, or is it helping me do something meaningful, right? How do we strike the right balance between cost and user experience? When we look at our user survey, one of the big reasons why users are unhappy is some of the hardware is too old and they want newer hardware. Guess what? Laptops cost twice as much today than they do. So there are trade-offs that we have to make, and how you balance that is a constant challenge. How fast will AI change user experience? There is a lot of talk about it, and it is coming, but when? And exactly how will it change things? When will that day come that I open up my computer and instead of going to Teams or Outlook, I see a dashboard that shows me what my 25 agents have been up to in the last overnight and where they ran into issues that I need to look into now. I don't know when that future is coming, but we need to be ready for it. And how do we manage non-human identities? Who is to blame when, how do you identify that this is an agent identity? How do you make sure that somebody's taking care of this agent having the right access and not screwing up something that they're not supposed to? And when it does make a fault, who's to blame? Who takes responsibility, right? These are important questions. But we have a Challenge Your Peers session later at 4:45, I believe, somewhere around here. So please do join, and happy to discuss it more there. But we have 6 minutes for questions now, if there are any in the room. Please.
You showed this You showed this 5 different aspects that were important to your users. One thing which I see often, which I didn't see there, was actually discovery. Like, how do I know that there is an app for that? Who do I talk to for certain things? How do I find the right people with specific skills, knowledge, whatever? How do I find the right resources, data files, whatever? So is it not a problem? Is it a solved problem for you? Or can you talk more about this aspect?
Certainly, and it's not entirely a solved problem, but it goes into 2 of the journeys that we have on the screen. One is the user support journey. So a lot of the user support is not about something being broken, but finding the right information. So part of it is there, and part of it is in the making AI accessible and enabling users with AI, right? So we have, in telecom, we have a brilliant bot called Ask T. The tagline, I love this, is don't ask me, ask T, right? Which hooks up to a lot of the company data, and then it helps you find what you're looking for. So yeah, there's a couple of different approaches there. Other questions?
There's one.
Oh, sorry. You're slightly out of my field.
You just mentioned that you use a chatbot to execute certain tasks. Can you give a little bit more insights? Which systems are actually connected to the chatbot, and what possibilities it also have in the future?
So the possibilities it has in the future, let's talk about that. So we've got this fantastic tool called NextThink, which does digital experience monitoring. I think you know about NextThink probably. So the idea would be to hook up the chatbot with NextThink so that when the user is talking, the system is a little bit better aware of what is going on with the user and can potentially take some actions based on that. But the kind of systems you could hook up to, Intune is another one. You could do that. There's a certificate renewal that users need to do. So it's those kinds of tasks where you can trigger some kind of backend system to do something. But the possibilities are just endless. I mean, you could hook it up to your IT ordering system. You could hook it up to pretty much anything where the user needs to take some action and try and automate that in an agentic workflow. The next question's for Markus, so please ask a very difficult one.
On the subject of chatbot connected to multiple backend systems, how do you protect it from, say, malicious prompts?
Yeah, see, I asked for a difficult question, and now you can answer it.
That's a very good question. I mean, in the end, there is still a risk, right? But so far, I mean, we're relaunching the new chatbot later this year. Right now, the possibilities to really act are limited, and we're going step by step, right? And we probably can ensure that nothing will happen, nothing dangerous will happen in the future, of course. But we given the chatbot a lot of guidelines, guardrails, and not access to any like crucial systems that they can really destroy the stuff. If you're talking about ordering stuff, if you order and only have access to your personal stuff, right? I mean, you can cancel all your services or something like that, but it doesn't really have access to a broader scale. So the effects might be very limited.
So when you're saying guardrails, you mean like in system prompts?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You will want to hear what that will happen.
Okay, very looking forward to it.
We might have to wrap up.
We're going to have to wrap it up? Okay. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Markus and Dilerjit. It was interesting to see on one side how we are taking this two-dimensional approach. One, making sure how we can heads-on take up the user journey or from the user perspective. On the other side, how we can do this from the operational side, right? So it's like there is no one fixed path that you're taking this convergence, as to say. It was very interesting to hear. Thank you. Thank you.